against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live, your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Cover breaking news, culture, matic warfare. We'll be your guide through the separation of money and state. Today, we're going to ask a question, which is how much Bitcoin do you need to own to be in the top 1% of Bitcoin holders? The answer might surprise you. It's not as much as you think. And it also depends on where you live geographically. Of course, you know what would be the top 1% of in the United States? How many millionaires are there around the world? What if every millionaire wanted to buy just one Bitcoin? What if every Bitcoin was even though this is not going to happen, but what if every Bitcoin was evenly distributed amongst the world population? You know, how much would it take to be in that 1% number? So we're going to break all of that down today. And then we have like a bunch of statistics, some memes also that are pointing it out. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited for this conversation. And we've done a couple shows on this topic in the past, and it seems like you guys like this topic. So we're going to keep doing it for you guys because you guys enjoy it. Also, in other news, historic interview yesterday with Tucker Carlson and the president of Russia, President Vladimir Putin. Now, regardless of whether you agree or you disagree in the interview, I mean, like the guy's Putin is a trained KGB agent. So I mean, like, forgive me if I don't trust everything he has to say, but from a historical context, it's very, very important because this interview was not meant to happen. This is an interview, Tucker using his platforms, right, and using X, using Twitter, and using his own website, was able to circumvent the legacy corporate media, the gatekeepers of information, the so-called control narrative, to do an interview with someone who has been villainized. If you watch the legacy media, and that's one of the justifications of printing all that money and then sending all that money to fund a foreign war, right? So regardless of whether you agree or you disagree, what we got last night was a different perspective, right? And from a historical standpoint, like I was saying, this marks the beginning of what the book, The Sovereign Individual, theorized. We're heading into the information age where people are going to be able to consume information from multiple sources, not just a handful, I'm going to say it, a handful of captured media outlets, approved media outlets, approved narrative, right? The handful of newspapers, the handful of legacy media channels. Now anybody could build a platform on all the different networks, right? Whether that's X, YouTube, Rumble, Nostr. I'm a big fan of Nostr because you just can't ban anyone. So we're going to see an acceleration of this, and people are going to get to pick and choose what information they want to consume and what information they don't want to consume. And that's going to make it incredibly difficult for governments that have been used to being able to control the narrative for a very, very long time. That ability is going to be greatly diminished as we continue to head into this very new and exciting era where information is being disintermediated. And at the same time, while all of this is happening, money is being disintermediated as well, right? So we're going to see a lot of changes in human society, how it's organized in the next couple of decades. And it has me extremely excited because I think we're going to see a new freedom renaissance, so to speak. I think the role of government in people's lives is going to be greatly diminished. And I think the people that understand that and are prepared for that are going to thrive. And I think the people that don't understand that are going to get caught by surprise. And unfortunately, maybe a lot of them will get left behind. So This is a crazy fourth turning. This is a crazy moment in history that we're all living through. We have the privilege of being able to live through this moment in history. And I think that interview was definitely a historic milestone, to say the least. So anyways, lots of exciting stuff to talk about on today's show. I want to bring up my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields. He is smiling today. That means it's going to be an excellent episode. How you doing, Opti?
I'm doing great, man. God's good. Life is good. Everything's great. Bitcoin's pumping. Woke up to some pumping today. Man, it feels awesome to be a Bitcoin. Also, actually, before I go and before I forget, I did go to a Bitcoin meetup last night. Shouts out to everyone that was there. Shouts out to everyone that gave me some love. I did kind of not so subtly sneak out so I can go eat a steak with my friends. I was at a steakhouse, but I wanted to clear the air. I was talking to Gary Leland, and
You went.
Yeah, I went. I finally went. And someone, he couldn't remember who it was, but I was getting trolled through Gary Leland by someone else. And he's like, look, Opti always talks about going to Bitcoin meetups and he never goes to a Bitcoin meetup. Well, guys, I literally only hang out with Bitcoiners and I talk about Bitcoin all day. So sometimes I want to unplug. Forgive me. But hey, I was there. Thank you to the guys. And everyone that was saying like, man, we love Simply Bitcoin, love watching what you guys are doing. I watch it every day. So it felt good, man. Nico, it seems like we're actually doing something awesome, and I'll make it back. It was a vibe. I enjoyed it. So and also Parker Lewis was talking. It was like an actual like mini conference. I thought it was just going to be like a hangout. So it was pretty good, but I did have to sneak out because I was on a deadline with my friends who drove me there, and we wanted to eat a steak. So not so subtly walked out during the Q&A. So I'm sure people were like, oh, look, Opti showed up and then left all early like an influencer. No, we went to the other side to eat a steak. Anyways, let's bring in our guests.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today's show. Go, Nico.
Yeah,
you
so
can go.
this is Rajat. He just joined the Simply Bitcoin writing team. He's going to be doing some writing for us. He's he's come on the show before. We're super happy to have him back on, and we got to speak for a brief time yesterday. And Rajat, what you said was fascinating, because you said you went from being someone who invested in real estate and said like real estate is the investment to fully taking the orange pill and understanding that Bitcoin is the superior asset. So I'm really excited and curious to really hear that story, what you went through psychologically and mentally. What was that process like? So happy to have you on the show again, man.
Definitely happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and actually, Rajat, so we give some context again. You are also a CFA, so this is not just another, Bitcoiner on the internet. He's got the accolades and he's got the background to back up what he's saying. So I'm super excited for today's culture.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. We got a lot of stuff to unpack on today's show, and today is Meme Review Friday, so we're gonna have a meme review. We have the memes already lined up for you guys. If you guys are new to the show, on Simply Bitcoin, we used to review memes every single day. We moved it to Friday to make it a little bit more special. So today is Friday, so we're going to review some memes towards the end of the show, some Bitcoin memes. Remember, guys, memes are a very powerful way of transmitting information. Anyways, guys, it's going to be a great show. We have a ton to talk about. Let's get to numbers. Let's check it out. Here we go. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to our flagship sponsor, Bitcoin Well by Real Bitcoin. Bitcoin Well is a self-custody Bitcoin platform on a mission to enable independence. Future-proof your money. Guys, this is the first Bitcoin platform in the US. They recently expanded to all 50 states that enables self-custody by default. That's right. If you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, they don't allow you to buy it unless you're going to take self-custody of it. And that's the way it should be, ladies and gentlemen, because this is how we win. More people taking self-custody, less people buying paper Bitcoin. Anyways, guys, no more delay. Let's jump straight into the numbers.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I made it incredibly easy for you guys. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. It will take you directly to the Stamp Seed website where you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off. You want to store your generational wealth properly. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 47,565. Sats per dollar, 2,102. Block height, 829,706. Blocks to halving, 10,294. Halving estimate, April 19th, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 4,757 Bitcoin. Capacity value, 226 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation, 1.75%. The market capitalization of Bitcoin is 933 billion US dollars. And the Bitcoin versus gold market cap is 6.77%. In the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin is just getting started. So, ladies and gentlemen,
The following is an interview.
Yeah. So the Tucker Carlson interview yesterday, literally, I would say, broke the internet. This thing has 99 million views, just to kind of give you guys
it's got 107 million views.
So I haven't even updated it yet. Let's update that screen. Here we go. And yeah, 120, wow. 128, ladies and gentlemen. So just to give you guys a reference, Joe Rogan is the most popular podcaster on the face of the earth. And he gets 11 million listens per episode. Tucker was the second most popular broadcaster when he was at Fox, and he would get an average of 3.5 million watches per episode. This already has 128 million, not to mention the views that it got on YouTube. Yeah, this is a changing of the guard. This is very different what is happening. And I posted about it yesterday because it really was kind of like a historic moment. I said, Tucker's interview represents the beginning of a future where individuals decide what to believe and not governments. Now, someone responded to me and said, by interviewing the government, nothing's changed. Putin's words are still scripted propaganda. And I said, you're missing the point. The historical significance of this event lies in the fact that the interview happened in the first place and was distributed on such a large scale, thereby circumventing the traditional gatekeepers of information, not the substance of the interview. And that's what I want you guys to focus on, because at the end of the day, guys, if we can't have freedom of speech is the front line for Bitcoin. If we can't have freedom of speech, what do you think? If people are not okay with you talking freely, what do you think? Do you think they're going to be okay with you transacting freely? Right. So, and we're living through this crazy time. I call it the disintermediation of information and also the disintermediation of money. Anyways, here's a very interesting clip from the interview. Obviously, the interview is like 2 hours long. Putin gives like a history lecture in the beginning. It's kind of funny. But we are a Bitcoin show, right? So we're not going to get into any of the politics because that's not what this show is about. But we are going to play you guys a portion of where Putin talks about the US dollar and how the US dollar was weaponized. And this is something that we have said on Simply Bitcoin many times, right? Is that the US dollar was weaponized, and because it was weaponized, it incentivized other countries around the world, specifically countries that don't necessarily have the best relationships with the US, to seek an alternative. And that is bad news for Americans, because Americans benefit tremendously from the dollar being the world reserve currency. I can't emphasize that enough. So look, if obviously there's like a self-sabotage happening here, right? It's self-inflicted wound by bureaucrats that can't help themselves. Obviously, we have an escape valve. We have a way out. And of course, that way out is Bitcoin. Anyways, I'll play you guys a clip from the interview with Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin as it relates to the dollar. Let's check it out. I mean, look, again, how much could you trust Putin, right? Like, how much could you trust this guy, ex-KGB agent? But I mean, what he's saying is true, right? The dollar has been weaponized, not only against foreign governments, but actual citizens here in the US, right? The freezing of accounts, right? Money shouldn't be weaponized. It's something that Bitcoiners understand. And I think this is where the fundamental clash is going to happen. I've said this to you guys many times. This is why the Treasury Department focuses so much on the Office of Foreign Asset Control, because it is a tool. It is a political tool. Now, the problem, though, is thinking that other countries aren't going to seek an alternative when that tool is used against them, right? So, if one of the first things that happened with when Russia invaded Ukraine was the U.S. froze, everything they could in terms of dollar accounts, and they were telling the American public that essentially that was going to lead to the collapse of, the Russian regime. That never happened. Not only did that never happen in Russia, that never happened in North Korea, and that also never has happened in Cuba. They all have heavy sanctions against those countries, and those countries still operate, right? So again, this idea that money is being weaponized, I think is ludicrous. I think it's a bad idea. And I think that only, a bureaucratic elite really benefit from that power. And here's the other thing, right? And this is where I'm going to say that Putin was, obviously he's trying to rile up sympathy and all that stuff. If he had that power, he would use it too, right? Like, if you had the godlike power of being able to create money for free that everyone else has to work for, if you were a government, you would use that. If you had the power of being able to control the money flows, right, and hurt your so-called political opponents with that power, you would use that as a government. So I wouldn't trust Putin if Russia had the world reserve currency. I wouldn't trust China if they had the world reserve currency. What Bitcoiners fundamentally understand is that no one should have the power to censor or freeze someone else's money. And no one should have the power to create money for free that someone else has to work for, right? So, you can still take the statement that he said and you can see the parts that are true and you can see the parts that are obviously political, right? He's obviously trying to achieve a certain political end goal, pointing out all those things. But at the same time, guys, it's true. They did weaponize the dollar. They have been weaponizing the dollar for a very, very long time. And I do agree with him in the sense that I think that was a mistake, because all of a sudden countries are going to seek alternatives, right? And if you see it from also the current situation in the US, right, there's going to be an inevitable clash between Bitcoin and current US sanction policy, which is what he was referring to, because the two are not compatible, right? We live in a system where there's a bureaucratic elite in DC that get to decide what country and what people get to use dollars and what country and what people don't get to use dollars. And then all of a sudden there's an open monetary network, and that open monetary network doesn't discriminate based on where you're from and where you happen to be born in or what your government is. That's why they call Bitcoin the money of enemies. Guess what's going to happen, right? I don't think the two systems can coexist, to put it nicely, right? So yeah, I think that there is going to be a clash, and I think that if you're able to kind of, you know, push the political, you know, agendas aside of what he was saying, what Putin was saying, you know, there's still some signal in there. There's still some information in there. So anyways, Opti, I want to get your thoughts, and then we'll pass it on to Rajat.
Yeah, so obviously this interview was a very divisive interview. You know, people are taking their sides and all divisions divide. But like, I'm glad that this was being said. You know, what we do here at Simply Bitcoin is we try to spread the Bitcoin message as far as we can on YouTube. And, you know, love or hate Tucker Carlson, he just spread that little tidbit. You know, hopefully all those 100+ million views got that little tidbit that the dollar has been weaponized, that the federal government of the U.S., the Federal Reserve, they have detached themselves from reality, and they are using the dollar as a weapon, and they no longer have to even abide by what the free market, aka all of us citizens out here, believe. They just have to print as much money as possible and put that wherever they want to, and they've completely run amok. And this is what we talk about all the time. And of course, guys, it's not left or right. I don't care, you know, if you're on the Russian side or you're, you know, a U.S. Nationalist or whatever, you know, whatever side of the aisle you want to talk, or call Tucker Carlson a useful idiot or whatever, you like him. I think that's all besides the point, and that's all distraction and noise. What is going on right now is that the Fed has pushed too far with the dollar, and everyone is waking up to it. And this is why we always say here, it's not left or right, it's orange versus green. And you don't have to take that abuse. You don't have to use a money that has been weaponized, that literally is designed to steal from you. And whether you love him or hate him, as in Putin, I think he hit the nail on the head here. Like, the dollar has been weaponized, and this is why we always say it's a separation of money and state. We believe that no single government, no single person, no single cabal of bankers should be in control of money, because they get an excess amount of power from controlling the money. And this is why we are in the position we are right now. And so we're seeing that we are breaking up from the unipolar world into what seemingly looks like a multipolar world. And people are looking for alternatives. They're looking to sell dollars. They're looking to use a money that cannot be censored, that cannot be debased. And we're still in this early innings of this. Like, I really do believe that by the end of this year, this signal is going to continue to spread, and more everyday people are going to get on Bitcoin. Because like I was mentioning, I went to a meetup last night, and Parker Lewis said something that I thought was very interesting when we were talking about, I think someone questioned him, and I'm probably butchering the question, but like, are we going to see hyperinflation in the US? And he's like, I mean, if you're really looking at it, we are seeing it happen right now. And he mentioned Venezuela, how when their currency lost 50% of their purchasing power, I forget the dates, I think he said like 2015 or something like that, the country wasn't even officially in a hyperinflation mode. And only in hindsight can you look back and be like, oh, this is when hyperinflation started. And I think we're in that position right now. If you go to the grocery store, I'm sure you can realize that your purchasing power isn't going as far as it used to. And we will probably be looking back at this, like maybe even tomorrow or yesterday in particular, as a defining moment when the world knew that the dollar was hyperinflating, that the dollar is losing that world reserve currency status. And hopefully we move towards a Bitcoin standard, a world where Bitcoin becomes that world reserve currency, and the world will improve. You know, I think collaboration is a lot better than having the monopoly of force. And I think we are moving into a better world. I think more and more people are waking up to the idea that, hey, why does one government control the money when now we have a money that is literally uncontrolled? This is the beauty of it. Censorship resistant, debasement proof. No single entity controls it. Like, we're moving into a hyper Bitcoinized world, and it's happening right now. And I think yesterday, I was having this thought last night, like, I feel like yesterday is one of those days that I will remember for a long time. And I have a bad memory. So it feels like one of those very important days, like, love them or hate them.
So Gary was right. Gary was right about you going to a meetup.
What did he say?
About you, how you should be going to meetups.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against it.
Gary
But anyways,
right.
man, the
Gary
signal
was right.
The signal in that little clip is strong, and hopefully, 120 is like a third of the U.S. population. Hopefully, people are waking up to, hey, we know the problem. There's a solution, and it is Bitcoin. Anyways,
100%.
Rajat, what's your thoughts on this?
I completely agree with what you're saying. I mean, the fact that our money is constantly losing value, and I think most people actually have no clue that this is happening, right? They just see that, oh, the price of my housing, the price of my food, the price of my energy is going up. And the fact that, I mean, what you guys are saying, the fact that Tucker was able to do something like this, he was able to interview somebody that's known as enemy number one, I guess. I mean, the fact that he was able to interview somebody like that without having any issues changes everything. It changes how information flows. It changes how people understand the world. It changes the perspective that we're taught to believe, right? When more people see that, okay, the dollar is dying. I know. I mean, I personally know. I'm from a traditional finance background, right? As soon as I started posting about how the dollar is slowly dying, a lot of people didn't like it, but there are other people who figured it out. I mean, they saw what I was saying, and it's exactly the same thing with this, right? You have to kind of filter your own information. Of course, I don't trust anything that Putin says. I don't trust anything that Biden says. I don't trust anything that any of these guys say. I mean, at the end of the day, it's more about making your own decisions, right? It's about having different perspectives of the world from somebody who's in a completely different part of the world.
Yeah, 100%. And wait, Nico, one last thing. I see the time. We got to move on. But did anyone, fact check the numbers on the Twitter post by Tucker Carlson? Got 120 million views. Biden did his own announcement at the same time. It got like 2 million views. Like independent content creators out here just destroying mainstream media and the corporate press. It's crazy.
Independent content is the future. Legacy media, is not only is it captured, but it's the old world. It's the old way of doing things. I truly believe that independent content creators and independent media is the future of media, and I think the world's going to be a much better place for it. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the news. We have a lot to talk about. Let's check it out. Here we go. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. Have you ever wanted to get into Bitcoin mining and don't know where to start? That's why I want to introduce you to Scott's Build a Mine Bootcamp. He will show you how to build your own Bitcoin mine, how to get the project funded, how to get your facility filled with miners as quickly as possible. With a little luck, and by putting all his techniques and strategies to work that he's developed mining Bitcoin for the last 6 years, you could be mining 5 million Satoshis per day or 0.05 Bitcoin in less than 3 months. On the free webinar, he will give you a high-level roadmap that will help you get on your way to building, owning, and operating your own Bitcoin mining farm. Begin your mining journey today. Register for the free webinar now. Click the link in the description of the video below or contact Scott directly on Telegram using his handle @OfferedScott and learn how to mine those precious Satoshis.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. All right, guys, I made it incredibly easy for you guys. You could scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you directly to Scott's Build a Mine Bootcamp. Learn to build your own Bitcoin mine. It's a free webinar. You could sign up. Go to www.build-a-mine.com/simply. And of course, guys, remember, not your keys, not your cheese. You definitely want to get yourself a Bitcoin hardware wallet. And of course, we recommend our sponsor, Passport by Foundation Devices. You can scan the QR code, or you could check the link in the video description. Opti is showing it off on screen right now. So quick ETF update, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check it out. How much Bitcoin does BlackRock have today? 82,516. Ladies and gentlemen, in the beginning of the beginning of the week, they had 70,000. So they've increased their stack by 10,000 Bitcoin. The Fidelity ETF seems to have increased as well. Yesterday it was at 66,000 Bitcoin. Currently, it's at 69,000. Here is a great visualization by this website called heyapollo.com, and it's just kind of visualizing how much Bitcoin these large asset managers are stacking. These are thousands and thousands and thousands of Bitcoin. The HODL ETF, the Burr ETF, that's hilarious. The Bitco ETF, the Bitwise ETF, the ARK Invest ETF. But yeah, I mean, this is just a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin. Remember, guys, they're gobbling up all the supply. There's not enough to go around. Eventually, there's going to be a supply shock, and I suspect that's why we're having these crazy pumps. Anyways, I wanted to address today's topic, but first, I have a clip for you guys from Michael Saylor himself on CNBC. Let's check that out.
You know, we're going through a digital transformation of everything. Apple represents a digital transformation of telephones and cameras, and Google's the transformation of books and libraries. Bitcoin represents the digital transformation of capital. 99.9% of the capital in the world is tied up in real estate and stocks and precious metals and bonds. And so we're 0.1% transformed. People, as they get educated on digital assets, are realizing that they ought to be allocating more and more of their capital to this digital asset. And so they're moving from 0.1 to 0.2%. And I think that's really driving the trend. I've said before, if Bitcoin's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million. The real question,
I mean, boom. If Bitcoin's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million. I 100% agree. I mean, we showed you guys the visualization, the graphic, right? The engines are just getting started. This party is just getting started. So let's answer the question of today's topic, today's title, right? How much Bitcoin to be in the top 1%? I mean, it depends. It depends how you break it down, right? So, 21 million divided by 8 billion people. If those people, if you were to divide that Bitcoin equally, it would be 0.002625 Bitcoin. To be the 1% of that would be 0.026 Bitcoin, right? What about 21 million Bitcoin divided by 65 million millionaires all around the world? It would come out to, if each millionaire equally divided all that Bitcoin, it'd be 0.32 Bitcoin per millionaire. What about millionaires in the US? There's roughly 22 million millionaires in the United States of America. And if they equally divided the Bitcoin, it would be 0.95 Bitcoin per each one. What about if you divided 21 million Bitcoin by the top 1% of the US, which is 338,000 people? You'd need roughly 62 Bitcoin. So, I mean, look, guys, in the grand scheme of things, I would say one of the most bullish stats here is this one right here, right? If every millionaire in worldwide, and this is still roughly achievable if you work your ass off, but you're definitely running out of time. Get yourself to 0.32 Bitcoin, right? I would say you're an elite class, and especially if you zoom out on a worldwide level, you're in a super elite class if you have that much Bitcoin. What about on on a US centric view? Only 0.95%. I mean, 0.95 Bitcoin. I mean, like, these aren't crazy numbers. Of course, we had many years in order to get to that point. Now, I love this meme. And I know that Opti loves memes, and it is, Meme Review Fridays. So I think this is a great meme. And, it's the Citadel, and it shows the levels of Bitcoiners, right? So of course it's the bottom, and it's the guy, it's like hell, and the rope, the cope, the hope, right? So and it kind of shows you the different levels, right? So the suicide stack, it's about 1 Bitcoin. The break it stack, it's about 5 Bitcoin. The make it stack, it's about a little in between 5 and 10 Bitcoin. The generational wealth, 10 Bitcoin. The dukes, 50 Bitcoin. The kings, 100 Bitcoin. The emperors, 1,000 Bitcoin. And then at the top, they don't even have, it's just those two twins. You guys know what I'm talking about, the meme of 10,000 Bitcoin, that's like Michael Saylor level type of Bitcoin. Anyways, let's take it a little bit more seriously, and let's break it down according to this breakdown. So this breakdown was actually made originally in 2017, but I still think it holds true today. And it kind of breaks down the individual numbers. So at the very, very bottom, you would need 0.00006 Bitcoin to be in the 100th percentile, the 100% percentile. To be in the top 10% of Bitcoin holders, you would need 1.28 Bitcoin. To be in the top 5%, you would need 3.99 Bitcoin. To be in the top 1% of Bitcoin holders currently, according to this data, you would need roughly 15 Bitcoin. Now, to be in the top 1% of the 1%, you'd need 89 Bitcoin. To be in the top 0.03%, you need 215 Bitcoin. To be in the top 0.01%, you need 433 Bitcoin. To be in the top 0.003%, you need 2,189 Bitcoin. And to be in the top 0.001%, you need about 7,021 Bitcoin. But times are changing. Times are changing because number go up. 21 Bitcoin 10 years ago is a very, very different story than 21 Bitcoin today. So I think this is like an updated kind of meme chart versus this one. I think this was the updated one. It's more, because this has been around for a while. The updated one is interesting. So at the very bottom, it's debt slave, dust, or no sats. Then there's the Bitcoin pleb with less than 0.01 Bitcoin. Then there is the Bitcoin soldier with 0.01 to 0.25 Bitcoin. Then there's the Bitcoin mercenary between 0.25 and 0.5 Bitcoin. Then there's the Bitcoin yo man, that's hilarious, between 0.5 and 1 Bitcoin. Then there's the Bitcoin knight, 1 to 3 Bitcoin. Then there's the Bitcoin baron, 3 to 10 Bitcoin. Then there's the Bitcoin lord, 10 to 20.99 Bitcoin. And then there's the Bitcoin king with 21 Bitcoin. And that puts you in an elite group. If you are privileged enough, lucky enough to have 21 Bitcoin, you are an elite group of 21 million people all around the world that could own just 1 Bitcoin. And remember, guys, I told you guys the number about the amount of millionaires. Right now, there's more millionaires than there is Bitcoin, right? Just to kind of give you guys, a frame of reference, right? Anyways, this is some data from Glassnode that further breaks it down, and it goes by the traditional levels. So at the very bottom, there's the shrimp. That's someone that has less than 1 Bitcoin. And that's about 22 million people that fit into that category. The crab category, it's between 1 and 10. There's about 500,000 people that fit into that category. The octopus is between 10 and 50. There's about 72,000 people that fit into that category. The fish, between 50 and 100 Bitcoin. There's about 11,000 people that fit into that category. The dolphin, 100 to 500. There's about 10,000 people that fit into that category. The shark, between 500 and 1,000, there's about 1,500 people that fit into that category. The whale, between 1,000 to 5,000 Bitcoin, there's about 2,000 people that fit into that category. And the humpback, there's only about 220 people that fit into that category. Now, where does this kind of level up on the global scale, right? So if you look at it from a traditional wealth perspective, and this is where I might ask Rajat some questions, especially his background from traditional finance or finance, depending on who you ask how to say that word. At the very top, number of adults, percent of world adults, and there's kind of like a wealth pyramid of people's net worth. And at the very top, right, there is the amount of people with over $1 million of net worth is not that high. It's only about 59 million people is what I was telling you about. Roughly, depending on where you look, it's between 50 to 70 million millionaires, right? So I think Bitcoin is really going to fundamentally change that. And why am I saying that? Because, guys, we are still early. This was, I sourced this from an article by Luke Broyles. He did an incredible kind of breakdown. People don't understand. They think they're still late to Bitcoin, but they don't understand that Bitcoin is absolutely scarce, right? The millionaire example, I think, is the best example to kind of wrap your head around. But this is a great breakdown. This is a great graph. And it breaks down the different things, right? At the very top, it's nations / mega rich. Then there's multi-billionaire / small nation. Then there's billionaire mega corporation. Then there's multi-millionaire large corporation. Then there's millionaire. Then there's upper class, middle class, lower middle class, lower class, and poverty. Now, you're going to be very surprised by the amount of Bitcoin required to, fit into these types of entities. In the future, to be mega rich / nation state level, there's only about 10 entities that will fit into this category. You need about 140,000 Bitcoin. To be a multi-billionaire / small nation, you need about 8,000 Bitcoin. To be a billionaire / mega corporation, you need about 120 Bitcoin. To be a multi-millionaire / large corporation, you need about 10 Bitcoin. To be a millionaire, you only need about 0.06 Bitcoin. To be upper middle class, you only need 0.008. To be middle class, you only need 0.001. To be lower middle class, you only need 0.0004. To be lower class, you only need 0.0002. And poverty is 0.00005. Right, aka 5,000 Satoshis. So in the grand scheme of things, guys, think long term, right? A couple of years ago, you would have never have imagined Bitcoin. If I told you 10 years ago that Bitcoin was going to be sitting at $47,000, you would not have believed me. Bitcoin was still in the hundreds of dollars or less than $100 at that point, right? So we're just getting started in the grand scheme of things. Here's Cathie Wood, the CEO of ARK Invest. And not only they have an ETF, but they have large Bitcoin investment as well. And we've shown you guys this before. And this is the 2030 type of price target. Mind you, this isn't 2040, right? This is by 2030. And it breaks down the bear case, the base case, and the bull case of where the Bitcoin price could be, depending on the level of adoption in different aspects. So we covered this yesterday. The Fidelity news was absolutely massive because we're already here, ladies and gentlemen. Institutional investment, the fact that a conservative ETF already has allocated 1% with an option to potentially allocate up to 3% already tells you that we're kind of making progress on this aspect. The digital gold market cap, we haven't even gotten started. We're only sitting at 6%, but it's just getting started. Seizure resistant asset. I mean, look at what Putin just said in the Tucker Carlson interview. Economic settlement network. I mean, this isn't a crazy adoption rate. Like, if you think about it, this isn't crazy. These numbers aren't insane. And of course, the bear case is about 258,000 Bitcoin. $258,000 per Bitcoin. The base case is $682,000 per Bitcoin, and the bull case is about $1.48 million per Bitcoin. So now that you guys are hearing these types of numbers, I mean, right now it's sitting at 47,627. We had a couple years of being able to get it between 3,500 and 10,000 US dollars. What's your excuse not to jump on this train? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, right, it doesn't take a lot of Bitcoin to be in the 1%, especially the 1% of the world. It doesn't take a lot, and you still have that opportunity to get that. When Bitcoin's sitting at $500,000 or $1 million per coin, it's going to be a different story. So anyways, I do want to pass it on to Rajat. Rajat, you're newly converted, right? You come from the traditional financial world, right? And I'm breaking down, you know, the wealth pyramid of the high net worth individuals at the top. So what's your take on this, man? What's your take, and how did you get from point A to point B? And what's your take on everything that I covered?
I think most people are just gonna take the time to learn. It takes a long time to learn how Bitcoin works, right? I mean, first of all, it probably takes the average person at least a year to see where this is going, I guess, because you have to look at the trends. Most people don't zoom out, right? Most people, a lot of the comments that I get from people who don't like Bitcoin, they're going to say, hey, oh, what do you say about the people who bought at 69K? They're still in a loss. I mean, if that's how you think, if you buy something with a 2-3 year time horizon, you're probably going to lose money regardless of which asset you buy. But the main thing here is that I think a lot of people just buy real estate. They buy stocks blindly because they know that they will probably go up in value in terms of US dollars, right? But they don't see it from a different perspective. As soon as people start seeing it, I mean, that's where the adoption is going to come from, right? I mean, the ETFs are probably going to make adoption a lot easier. Of course, they could be 6102, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to probably blow up the fiat financial system because people are going to be borrowing against their ETFs, right? I mean, as that happens, more people who are really trying to figure this out, taking the time to figure it out, they're gonna be the earlier ones to get it, right? I mean, I like to think of it as there isn't going to be equal distribution of Bitcoin. It's going to be distributed based on how early you are, right? Right now, you can buy one Bitcoin with maybe a year's salary. In 10 years, you'll probably be buying one Bitcoin with 20 years salary. And that's just because of adoption. That's exactly what Kathy Wood's chart was saying, the pyramid that you guys posted. All those things that all those things are gonna play in. I mean, have a role in this. The average person, even I, for example, I mean, I was on your podcast, 4 months ago, 5 months ago? Actually, maybe it was longer, but at the time, I genuinely thought real estate is a way to compete with Bitcoin. And think about how many people have real estate. I used to work as a realtor. I don't do it as much anymore. I don't work with that. But I would see that probably 15 to 20% of my showings were empty houses, right? Houses sitting there. They're empty. They have a maintenance fee. They're going to continue to have a cost. And all these people who are seeing it are going to they're going to be early, right? I'm assuming that there's people who have 10, $15 million real estate portfolios right now. In a few years, when they finally realize it, they'll barely be able to get 10, 12 Bitcoin for their entire portfolio, right? And that's where the world is going, whether or not people like it, whether or not people see it. I didn't see it before. I'm willing to admit that I was wrong. Most people, I don't think they are yet. I think it really takes it takes people to get rid of all of their preconceived notions of what money is, where the world is going. You can't think of it in a traditional finance perspective, right? Okay, so when I did the CFA, the base assumption was that the US dollar will always be around. We'll always want a way to get cash flow in US dollars. We'll always want a way to store value in US dollars. There's no real thought that's gone into the CFA curriculum. For example, I'm not saying the CFA is a bad thing, but I'm just saying there's no thought that goes into it that talks about, hey, what happens if the real estate market collapses? I personally think that real estate at this point, I mean, the buy side, the mortgage side, it's all a Ponzi scheme, right? I mean, the prices need to keep going up for all these banks to survive. As soon as banks don't, as soon as they're not able to get that as soon as they're not able to give out bigger and bigger mortgages, the system's going to collapse, right? That's just how it is. I used to make made a majority of my money from selling real estate, and I'm telling you this. This is where the world is going. Most people haven't seen it yet. Most people are not going to see it until it's too late. They're probably not going to see it until Bitcoin hits at least a couple $1 million.
Let's go. Bullish. You're muted, Nick.
That is a very, very powerful statement. That is a very powerful statement, especially from someone who came from traditional finance to Bitcoin, and that's a conclusion that you've got to. And we're going to explore more of that during the culture during this culture segment. I do want to continue the conversation. But Opti, what's your take on everything, brother?
Yeah. So my first comment here is just digital scarcity, guys. Like, I think few people really understand what that truly means moving forward. And we've never had an asset like Bitcoin. We've never had a currency like Bitcoin before. Oh, am I freezing? Yeah, my internet seems to be acting weird. But anyways, I'll keep going and maybe it won't be too bad. Anyways, I think few people understand what digital scarcity really means. And until you wrap your head around what digital scarcity, true hard cap scarcity means, you won't really see where Bitcoin is going. And so just to the, an average person out there, my friends and family that might listen, and then all you guys that are friends and family now, it's just like, keep stacking. What you own today will have a lot more purchasing power in the future. Try to get to one coin, as we like to say on Bitcoin Twitter, as my friends usually say, if you could get to 2.1 coin, then you own, what is that, 1/1,000,000th of the Bitcoin supply. Do that math in gold. You'll have a lot of purchasing power moving forward. And then this isn't even taking into consideration all the lost Bitcoin out there. We think there's 4 or 5 million that are lost. So there's only ever going to be, about 15 to 16 million Bitcoin in circulation. So those numbers are probably off. And of course, we're all speculating. We really don't know. But as CK always says, CK Snarks on Twitter, 37 sats is generational wealth. So if you understand where we are going, and just keep stacking, make sure you are allocating some of your paycheck to Bitcoin. Make sure you have a savings in Bitcoin, because I really think we're underestimating how big the Bitcoin market is going to grow. And I think, whatever we're holding today, and I don't like saying this because everyone's saying Opti's bearish and saying that you shouldn't keep stacking. I'm just saying that probably what we're holding today will have, even any amount of it will be an extreme amount of purchasing power in the future. So just hodl that for the long term.
Amen to that. Amen to that, brother. All right, everybody, let's get to the culture. We have a lot to talk about with Rajat. But before we do that, I do want to give a very special shout out to our sponsors. So first up, of course, we have 10 million people to Orange Pill. And that's why I have to recommend this book, Bitcoin Evangelism, Planting Seeds for the Decentralized Revolution. This book was written by Brian DeMint, and it's an absolute beast of a resource for orange pilling no coiners and altcoiners alike. This is a book for Bitcoiners who know Bitcoin but have a hard time explaining it to their friends. It's a book for Bitcoiners who are trying to explain Bitcoin only to altcoiners. It's available today on Amazon. You can scan the QR code on your screen, or you could check the link in the video description. All right, everybody, let's get to the culture. We have a lot to talk about.
The Daily Culture.
Guys, before we continue our conversation with Rajat, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Rex. They are the most trusted place to buy, sell, and host mining equipment. You could scan the QR code on your screen right now, or you could check the link in the video description, and it will take you directly to their Telegram marketplace, where you can connect with a member of their sales team. They make purchasing their products easy and transparent. You could also sell your mining equipment with them, access their vast network of domestic and international customers when you sell your mining equipment with them. What are you waiting for? Check out Rex today. All right, everybody, let's continue this awesome conversation with Rajat. I'm so interested. I'm so fascinating. fascinated because, again, Rajat, you come from the legacy, financial world. You come from the real estate world, and you fully orange pilled. You transitioned. You saw the orange light. So, Opti, what do you have pulled up?
Yeah, so guys, when Rajat was on our show, I think it was August of last year, we brought him on. He kind of took a spicy take here, and then I based it off this tweet here, and I'll just read the tweet, and then we'll move to what Rajat's been thinking lately. So this tweet here was, if you invest in global stocks, global real estate, and Bitcoin, I think there's a strong chance your portfolio will perform well over the next 30, 40 years. Even if the US dollar fails, we will always need businesses to create products, houses to live in, and money to transact with. And then when we talked with Rajat yesterday, he's like, guys, you have fully orange pilled and I have 100% flipped my narrative. And he put it in this tweet. It went pretty viral, but Rajat, I'll just give you the floor here. What happened, bro?
I saw the light.
Go on.
I think I realized that all this stuff that we do, we buy real estate, we buy stocks, we buy bonds, we buy all this stuff. It's to protect us from the devaluation of our money, right? I mean, most people, I've spoken to so many people who say, hey, I buy real estate because of cash flow, or I buy stocks because I trust this company, or I buy their products. I don't think it's true. I think most people don't get it. They don't want to get it. They're so deep in the legacy system. They don't understand the sunk costs. They don't understand the opportunity costs. I think it's so important to see it from a different perspective, where the main reason why you're even buying all this stuff, most people buy, I used to be one of those people. I used to buy index funds blindly, right? Every paycheck, every time I'd get paid, I'd put a little bit of money into some stock, some ETF. But now I realize all these companies, I mean, they're not there to make you rich. They're there to make themselves rich, right? And if you think about it, all these politicians, Nancy Pelosi made something like a few $1 million on her Nvidia calls, and she was the one. She had full control of what was happening. It's completely, the system is corrupt. It's designed to be the way that it is. It's all of this is not. It's not a bug. It's a feature, right? It's a feature to make the elite even more elite, right? It's a way to steal from people who don't understand the system. A lot of people around the world, people constantly say, hey, to deal with inflation, all you have to do is buy stocks. You don't realize that 95% of the world can't buy stocks, right? They don't want to buy stocks. They don't want to take a risk. The goal for most people is just to save, right? They don't care about Apple, how Apple performs, how Microsoft performs. They don't care about these companies. All they want to save for the future. They want to be able to fulfill their needs, their wants. They want to be able to be comfortable with their savings. They don't care about earnings reports and reading financial statements and how much the US government or the US Federal Reserve is going to increase or decrease interest rates. They don't want to know about that, right? They want to do their job and they want to save what they save, right? They want to keep it. They don't want to be buying all this random stuff. They don't want to have a second full-time job. I mean, there's a lot of real estate investors on Twitter that just can't wrap their head around it. And I mean, they're going to get burned, right? I think that's the most important thing. They're going to get burned. They're not going to see it coming. It is what it is, right? I mean, I personally feel like I saw the light. I noticed that all these companies, they're only there until we want them there, right? Like Starbucks, for example. Starbucks, they had some things going on where I don't want to talk about the politics, but essentially they were doing something that people didn't like. They got killed, right? People stopped. I would see Starbucks and there'd be no line in the drive-thru, right? Why was that? Because they made a decision that people didn't like, right? All these companies rely on their customers. If their customers disappear, these companies disappear. That's just how it is.
Love it. Okay. And actually, I brought a tweet here that went kind of viral on Twitter the other day. So you kind of mentioned it, and I want to jump on this, and then I kind of want to ask your perspective on the BlackRock ETF or spot Bitcoin ETFs as well. But before we get to that, so this couple, it looks like they're like real estate influencers. They're called the Fi couple, and they go, hot take with Bitcoin: if you're not already rich and making at least $200,000 plus a year, less than 1% of your time and energy should be focused on Bitcoin. The other 99% can go towards earning more, owning real estate and index funds, etc. What would be your response to this, Rajat?
I actually quoted that.
Maybe I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah. See if you can. I quoted that one. I was talking about how real estate is a Ponzi. I mean, the goal of most people who have real estate, their goal is to continue the Ponzi scheme, right? I used to be, like I said, I used to be a realtor. I know exactly how people think. I know a lot of people who just buy real estate simply because they know other people are buying it, right? They don't realize what they're doing to the world. They don't realize that, oh, I'm taking demand. I'm increasing demand. I'm taking supply off the market. And I think most landlords see it as, I'm helping people get affordable real estate when they're making a profit, right? If they didn't make that profit, maybe that property would be much cheaper, just in general, right? If they didn't have that demand, if they didn't use fake money to buy real estate, I mean, the world would, in my opinion, the world would be a better place.
Love it. Okay, I got two different tweets here, but dunking on them. Love to see it. Oh man. All right, and then one last question. Well, actually, I do have a bunch of questions. But Rajat, I remember I asked you last time you came on the show. Are you still practicing as a CFA?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the CFA is valuable because it got me to think differently. I probably wouldn't have understood a Bitcoin if it weren't for the CFA, right? It did get me to dive a lot deeper. Before I wasn't really before the CFA I wasn't really into, I guess, researching. Now, I mean, I've been able to wrap my head around a lot of things. I wouldn't have been able to wrap my head around Bitcoin if I didn't understand currencies, right? I mean, just the currencies, the different parts of currencies, how the swap works, how their values work. I know a lot of people think that in my tweet I said that real estate is a Ponzi scheme. That's not what I said. I said the real estate market is a Ponzi scheme. I think that's absolutely true, because if you think about it, banks spin up money out of thin air. They don't put in effort to create that money. They create money out of thin air. And if there's any reason for that money to be paid back, it probably won't be. It never will be, right? Most people can't afford to pay back their mortgages right away. I still think that houses have utility, and I think over the long term, home prices will drop to their utility values.
And that's incredibly bullish, especially for people that
Anyways, Rajat, the reason I asked is because what do people say? What do the normies say when you talk about Bitcoin to them? Are they still hesitant? What's been your take, and what's like your, I don't know, anecdotal market? Stop. So what do people think when you talk about Bitcoin?
They say there's no cash flow. They say that it's too volatile. They say that it's a Ponzi scheme. What else do they say? They say, it's not physical, so it's a waste. It's going to zero. But I mean, I guess most people don't realize 95% of their transactions are digital, right? You don't really. I think again, it's more about the context. I think most people aren't going to get it because they have they live in a physical world, and they can't wrap their head around the fact that something of value can be digital. It doesn't have to be physical, right? I was actually speaking to a mortgage broker a couple weeks ago. I was telling him he was a gamer, so I was telling him the fact that your saved video games have so much value to you. You should understand how Bitcoin works, right? Because if somebody deletes that, you've lost. What have you lost? You've lost all of your time, right? Essentially, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is time. It doesn't have to be physical for it to be valuable. It just has to have people understanding it, people seeing where it's going, right? Once people see where it's going, I mean, that's the future, right? Once, and people are understanding it, people are figuring it out. Most people who say, okay, it has no intrinsic value, it has no physical appearance, it has no utility, all that stuff. It's based on a perspective where they haven't done the research, right? If you were to talk to most people on the street, they have no clue what it is, but they'll probably tell you, oh, I don't want it because it's volatile. It has no intrinsic value, but they have no clue. They have no clue what it is, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, and last tweet I want to bring up here, because I think it's a very good take, is your take on the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETFs. So I'll pull this up here for people, and I really like this. I'll just read the tweet and then you can jump off. So Rajat goes, I get so many questions about whether BlackRock owning so much Bitcoin will be a bad thing.
By the way, guys, if you're watching the stream and you're enjoying the stream, make sure to smash that like button. We're almost
what's going on?
We're almost at 200 likes in the live stream. So if you're enjoying the live stream,
enough,
make sure to smash that like button on YouTube. And if you're watching us on Rumble, smash that like button. And if you're watching us on X, make sure to smash that like button. Sorry for the interruption.
Jeez, so rude. All right. And Rajat continues and goes, instead of worrying about BlackRock's holdings, focus on accumulating your own wealth. It'll be much better use of your time. It doesn't matter how much Bitcoin BlackRock or its clients or all the other institutional asset managers have. If you own some, their ownership will make you better off. So you want to add a little more to this, because I absolutely love this take.
Yeah, I mean, if more people understand what Bitcoin is, the value is going to go up, the price is going to go up. As more people see what this network does, what it can do, they'll want to use it, right? I think too many people are worried about what BlackRock could potentially do to Bitcoin, but BlackRock benefits from the price going up, right? I don't think they get that, right? Because as the price goes up, their fees go up. If the price doubles, their fee doubles, right? If the price goes up, more people are going to want to buy. Their fee is probably going to grow by an order of magnitude, right? That's just how it is. It's FOMO, and people are going to continue to buy. Stop worrying about what BlackRock is doing. I feel like I post about how people are buying BlackRock. How BlackRock is buying so much Bitcoin every day. I keep posting about that, but it's more about telling you that the supply is going away, right? It's being taken from the market, and as soon as that's gone, it's probably never going to enter the market again, right? What's the total value of what BlackRock has? Almost $4 billion. Those $4 billion of Bitcoin probably will be held for at least 5 years, right? Those $4 billion worth of Bitcoin they're not going to come back to the market. And by the time it's 5 years, we'll probably have a lot more ways to borrow against Bitcoin, to be able to leverage it, to not have to sell it. And it's never going to be sold at that point, right? It'll be moved from person to person in families.
Well, absolutely bullet. Rajat, I really, really appreciate you joining us on the show today. Guys, if you want to hear more of Rajat's signal, he will be publishing some articles for us at Simply Bitcoin. He is joining the Simply Bitcoin crew, and we're honored to have him because he's just dropping hot fire. Guys, you could check out the Simply Bitcoin Substack by going to simplybitcoin.news or just searching it on Substack, and we'll be dropping some of Rajat's articles covering all these topics. So really, really exciting. And dude, this is so much signal today. Anyways, guys, you know what time it is? It is Meme Review Fridays. Let's check out some memes.
The Daily Meme Review.
So Opti was threatening to quit because we weren't reviewing memes, and he's like, Nico, that's where I do best, Nico. We have to bring back the memes. I'm like,
the only thing I got going for me here, Nico, is the memes, bro. You can't take it away from me. You can't take it away from me. Oh man, no guys, we love the memes. We're just trolling. Anyways, you already know the deal. It's Friday. It's the weekly meme review. We need to update the
yeah, we really
visuals.
do.
Anyways.
What is it? No. We should end the poll and drop a new poll. Let's ask the people, the voice
All
of
right,
the
you
people.
do it. You do it.
All right, I'll do
Friday
I'll work
meme
on the
review,
poll.
weekly meme
Yeah.
review. I like weekly because it's culminating the week in memes. Anyways, you guys already know the deal. Tag me on Twitter, Simply Bitcoin TV, or you can tag my personal one, Optimus Fields. But whatever you want to do, you guys know where I'm at, and I will drop them, and we will review them. I will hoard your memes until the end of the week, and we will bring them on the show. You already know the deal, guys. Tweets are the bullets, memes are the artillery. We are in an information war. You guys are in the trenches. Frontline soldiers, continue to spread the Bitcoin signal, continue to ridicule the corporate press, and then, of course, continue to make some funny so your friends' heads stay in the game. All right, first one is by Maxie's Club, and there is no tweet here, but it is just a bull with a God candle going through the roof. Because I'm not gonna lie, I woke up this morning and I don't know who tweeted it, but they're like, yo, Bitcoin's at 47K, and I was like, oh my goodness, like what a good morning, what a good Friday. I really hope, this is a personal hope here, I really hope that the green candles are back on the menu on the weekend, because I'm sick and tired of seeing the Bitcoin price run at Wall Street hours. I want them to get wrecked, and I want it to pump Friday 5 p.m. Eastern, and it just pumps all weekend, and then it dumps on Monday, so they get absolutely wrecked when they trade. It's so much funner when this happens. Okay, anyways, next one is by our boy Ropium. Shouts out to you, bro. And he goes, a Swiss bank account in my pocket, you son of a bitch, I'm in. And it's Morty looking at Obama like, wait, is this supposed to be a bad thing? Because this sounds like a good thing. What, you didn't have to sell me on this, Obama. You know, I'm already all in, but now you're selling me on it even more. Thank you. I'm all in. And this next one, shouts out to Morpheus. He dropped this one this morning. Again, I try to avoid nepotism on the meme review, but I didn't make this one. This was someone from our team, and I thought this one was awesome. So this coming out of the Simply Bitcoin TV Twitter account, it goes, are you still educating yourself on hashtag Bitcoin? And it looks like, I think that's books emoji. And we got Putin here, and he goes, there are copies of these documents. I will leave them for your good memory. And it Putin with the Bitcoin standard. Such a good one. This was great. Okay, next one is by Copernicus. Shouts out to Copernicus. He's in the chat. His Twitter, at Copernicus Sun 6. He goes,
wait, we're showing a Copernicus meme. So
He's
out of the doghouse.
He's out of the doghouse. He's been good. He's been good. He's trying to be good.
Is he behaving?
His autism can't help himself, but he's trying to be good. He's literally like he's tweaking over there, trying not to be bad.
This is a joke. That's a joke, by the way. It's a joke.
Wait, what's the joke? I was serious. What are you talking about? Anyways. Sarcasm. Anyways, Copernicus goes, memes.
That was sarcasm. Dude,
our sarcasm is way too meta for everyone. All right. Copernicus goes, memes. He goes, damn, wreck the stream. All right, memes will be lit when the circuit breakers trip up. See, Copernicus gets it. I don't know what this movie's from, but it's a Johnny Depp looking at the kid crying, and he goes, and the kid is the suits, and it goes, Bitcoin went up too much in a day and tripped the circuit breakers, and then we got the Bitcoin plebs with laser eyes, and he goes, yeah, we stacked while you couldn't. This is what I'm talking about. I cannot wait till the green candles are back on the menu over the weekend, and Wall Street is just sitting there waiting to buy their spot Bitcoin ETF while we just scoop up all the spot Bitcoin. This next one absolutely cracked me up. This shouldn't hit the YouTube triggers. It's just a dude with no shirt, so hopefully we don't trigger that. But anyways, RD Bitcoin goes, never lower your standards, kings. Hashtag Bitcoin, hashtag HODL, hashtag there is no second best. And we got, Miss Universes here, all these beautiful babes here, and then we got this fat Bitcoiner here drinking a beer and his Bitcoin stats. He goes, her nose is too big. Never lower your standards, kings. Oh man, maybe you guys will get girlfriends after all. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways. It is the Friday meme review, Nico. Sorry.
Simply Bitcoin does not approve of these messages.
Simply Bitcoin does not approve.
There is a poll, and I'm going to end it right now because it already has 49 votes. And the
wait. Shh, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
The official name of the meme review is going to be called Opti's Meme Review.
Let's go! I'm with this.
It's going to be called Opti's Meme.
Yeah.
Opti's Friday Meme Review.
No, and then Nico, we should do like in little writing at the bottom, like Simply Bitcoin does not endorse Opti's memes.
Okay, and Sophie's not gonna do the voiceover. You're gonna do the voiceover.
Simply Bitcoin. Opti's meme review. Okay.
No,
right.
but it has
I
to be
know.
better.
I'm joking.
It has to be better.
All right, this next
By
one.
the way, YouTube, the whole autism thing. There's a joke on Bitcoin Twitter that for some reason
is this guy?
Bitcoiners, they say that because they don't understand certain things, they're autistic, but it's a bad joke. I don't agree with it. Simply Bitcoin doesn't approve.
Simply Bitcoin's unhinged today.
Of this message. I apologize for Opti.
All right. I'm having too much fun. This is why this is my glory. Don't take my moment away from me. All right, this next one is by Vikingo. Shouts out to our boy Vikingo. He's at Vikingo Bitcoin 9 on Twitter, and he goes #Bitcoin only or suffer the consequences. And it looks like there's Bored Ape shirts on clearance at Walmart. Do not shitcoin. It is bad for you. I thought that was hilarious. Big if true. Anyways, super unhinged meme review today.
Jesus. Man.
Rage. I need to get it out.
He's like, meme review. Okay, so you guys voted. Give the people what they asked. You guys voted. So it's going to be called Opti's Friday meme review.
Opti's Friday meme review. Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
All right, guys, drop your meme review score in the chat.
Ooh.
Over there. I'm going to give it. I don't think I've given this yet. I'm going to give it my foundation device.
Okay.
Passport.
Have
Passport.
you not given that? Okay.
I don't think so. Oh wait, I did give it, but look, I took the plastic off. I remember now. There's not a used. I took the plastic off. A non-mint one.
You took the next step. Okay. I'm going to give it, since we don't do these, you know what? I'm going to save these scores. I'm going to go one by one. So first, I'm going to give it a Tone Vase limited edition.
I think you gave that one. I think you gave that one, Nico.
I already gave this one?
Yeah,
okay,
you gave
so I'm going
that
to give
one.
it the Scammy Awards.
Oh.
Limited edition. 1 out of 250. And on the back, it says, there's just one that is proven, verified, not trusted, and Bitcoin is its name. All the rest will leave your pocket books dusted. The scammiest of the scammers, the grifters, the delisters, the rug pullers, and thieves. So many deserving of this award, to show only a few is really a tease. Welcome to the Scammy Awards, where the pinnacles of poop coinery are awarded for their grim contributions to societal collapse. That is absolutely hilarious. That's what I'm gonna give it. Check out Bitcoin trading cards. Aladdin and their crew over there absolutely crushing it. Anyways, Rajat, what would you give those memes?
I have a Trezor.
Okay, OG score. I like that. I like that. A foundation, a Trezor, and a Bitcoin trading card. All right, guys, you know the deal. Drop your score in the live chat. If you guys are new to Simply Bitcoin, the audience gets involved. You guys drop your meme score. If you don't understand, give it any object, anything that comes off the top of your head. It's a meme. It's not meant to be taken seriously. In the beginning, actually, we used to go 1 through 10, and then we realized, no, let's just make it a meme.
Wait,
Anyways,
Nico. Give him more time.
Before we do that, we'll give you guys some time. Check out our merch. We're going to be dropping new merch very, very soon, but check out our merch right now. Really, really helps. It helps support the show. We are an independent media company. So, we shout out to our sponsors that help us stay on the air. That's how we're able to make content every single day for you guys. We do this full time. Opti, myself, and the whole Simply Bitcoin crew. There's just too many people to name right now. So if you guys want to help support the show, you can subscribe to us on Substack, or you can buy our merch. It really, really does help us stay independent. This is not easy running a media company.
Wait. I got a PSA. Stack sats first.
Yes,
buy stack merch second.
Exactly. Stack sats first. But if you do want to help support Simply Bitcoin, it really, really does help.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Anyways,
we love you guys.
Let's cue the epic music. And let's get to some of the scores. First, by Tora Poddle, he gives it a, I promise we will bring back the daily meme review. Oof. Oof.
You heard Nico here first.
Sale Dog 18 gives that I give the memes 5 Bitcoin ETFs with massive inflows. Okay.
Yeah, man, crazy.
Okay. Elaine, shout out Elaine. Simply Millionaires. The Simply Bitcoin name changes in 2024 to reflect Simply Chat hodlers.
Dude, we're gonna have the richest viewer base ever.
Yeah, straight up. Here, let's change it to this. There we go. Rich BC gives it meme review score 1 large. What?
Is that mine? Are you talking about me?
Here, let's change up the colors. It is Friday. Here we go. Ooh, spicing it up. UTXO, I give the memes the plastic film I just removed from my seed signer over a year of frequent use. That's a very, very thorough score. I like that. Frank Ark, meme score long before any knowledge of electricity existed. People were aware of shocks from electric fish. Ancient Egyptian text dating from 2750 BC. Yap for 20 minutes about the history of Bitcoin. That's very deep. That's like a Putin.
That's a Putin troll. Yeah.
That's a Putin answer. Optimus Fields, TA, CFA, BBW, lover. It's Infinity Sat already. Okay, love that score. Next one by Donna Prince. 2 roller coasters. I agree with that. That's a great score. It's a great score. Next score by Phil C. I give the memes laser eyes to 1 million Bitcoin. Okay, thinking big. I like that. The Moon Moth meme score rubber frog because it's green today. Okay.
Nick, I don't know if we can say this one because it might trigger the YouTube, so we're gonna move back. Shouts out XX.
Ajax 1991. I give the memes a orange pill. Oof, that's
okay.
Score.
Music's running out, but we got Narwhal Tacos that goes. I give those memes my signed copy of The Little Hodler by Lena Sichet. Let's go. And then last one, out of compliance, meme score 10x Biden. Oh man, I wrecked me. Dude, don't wreck me like that. You know I'll read everything.
All right, guys, we are out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Simply Bitcoin. Thank you guys for supporting us. We would not be here without you. This was an incredible week. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Nico. This is my legendary co-host, Other Way Opti. This is our guest, Rajat. Rajat is going to be joining the Simply Bitcoin crew. He's going to be dropping some hot fire articles on the Simply Bitcoin Substack. So make sure to subscribe and go follow him on Twitter. Rajat, could you say that, Rajat? Because I'm going to butcher it.
It's just Rajat Sony Finance without an I in it.
Gotcha. So it's finance. It's like a very finance. It's very finance. Well, Rajat, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. All right, guys, that was another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. Number one thing you could do to help push, you could subscribe, but the number one thing you could do to help push this peaceful Bitcoin revolution forward is share Bitcoin content. In fact, share Bitcoin culture, share Bitcoin articles, share Bitcoin music. We have to take over the culture. We have to win over the hearts and minds. Remember, it's not left versus right. It's not red versus blue. It is orange versus green. You're on the side of green. So act like it. Anyways, guys, enjoy your weekend. Have an amazing weekend. We'll be back Monday for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. Peace out, everybody.